Okay, so I want to just start by level setting very quickly so that you know what we mean when we talk about lean and continuous improvement. So first of all, I kind of use those terms synonymously because when I learned way back in the dinosaur age of the late 80s, early 90s, we kind of called it continuous improvement. But essentially all we're talking about is an approach to business, service, manufacturing, healthcare, otherwise, where we're going to focus on maximizing the value to the customer, whether that's the patient or the person who buys your product or service. But we're going to do that by maximizing the value of our employees, okay, because they create, add, and deliver all the value we give. How do we do that? All right, then we have to start with stable processes and resources. People, equipment, materials, machines that work and are organized and have been trained. And then we want to standardize those processes and activities so that we get repeatable, predictable outcomes. Once we do that, we want to organize so that we are using those resources most efficiently. So machines do what they're good at, people do what they're good at. And finally, we're striving always to become what I would call a just-in-time provider, meaning that we are changing our processes, always seeking to put them in a position to give the customers what they want, when they want it, and the quantity they want it. Okay, and that's a big ticket, and in some cases we will never achieve exactly that. You know, if Rudy wants one nut tomorrow and you're a nut manufacturer, you're probably going to find it difficult to make just one nut when she wants it, because there's reasons we do what we do. But we want to set that goal of, because if that's really what she wants, that's her desire, and I have to keep changing my processes to get there. And how we do that is we remove waste from our processes. The ultimate measures of lean: quality, cost, time, and customer and employee satisfaction as we go through this. Okay, another way to think about this is lean is about reducing the time between paying and getting paid. That time when we say that customer's need is in what we call our value stream, the set of activities necessary to provide the product or service the customer wants. But we have, in fact, hired employees, we have overhead, we may need materials, etc., to provide that service or product. So what we want to do is we want to shrink the time between when we've had to pay for our resources and when we get paid back. Because the ultimate measure of value typically in lean is time. So collapsing that time. Now the issue is, the longer something stays in our value stream, the more opportunities we have for poorer quality, higher costs, longer deliveries to our customer. So many things can go wrong. And the time is the manifestation of whatever waste we have in our process. If we had no waste and we had really good processes, we could deliver what the customer wants like that. So that's in essence what we're talking about here. Now, the thinking here is this process of lean is 90% about people. Okay, 10% about tools, but one of the misnomers for many people starting here is that they grab onto the tools because they can understand it. But what they miss is the leadership and management aspects of developing an environment where people are engaged in making improvement. So cultural change, if you will. So that, I think, with that, we sort of gives you sort of our foundation of where this group of folks is coming from. So I'm going to ask them now to just please introduce themselves.
My name is Bret. I'm the president of Jøtul, North America. We make cast iron wood stoves. It's a Norwegian company, and I run the U.S. subsidiary. We began our lean journey in the early 2000s, roughly 2001. And the business case for us was actually, we were out of control in manufacturing. We were very good at product development. We were very good at customer service, but we had no control over our operation. And one of our gas log set suppliers, who was a gentleman from India who had been practicing lean for several years, was touring our plant, and he said, "You know what? I don't want to ship as many log sets to you as I am right now. You're out of control. I can build to order these. Come visit my factory. And by the way, I'm 10 miles away from the Toyota factory in Mount Sterling, Kentucky." So we actually were enlightened on lean from one of our suppliers, gas log sets. And after seeing what his operation was doing as far as building to order, flexible manufacturing, quick changeovers, and then dozens of visits to the Mount Sterling plant across several of my senior managers, we realized that building 120 of one stove in a day, those days were numbered, and that we needed to be much more flexible.
Good morning, my name is Bob Weber. I am currently a managing director with Next Stage Solutions. Nice to see a lot of familiar faces in the audience as well. For those who don't know me, I have about 40 years of commercial and operational finance experience within the life science space. I've been responsible for financial operations in the U.S., Canada, and the UK. I've been involved in a number of corporate initiatives that have been involved in enhancing customer value, elimination of waste, and driving continuous improvement, mainly with Johnson & Johnson. In addition to financial systems, many of the initiatives have been involved in quality management systems, activity-based management systems, and most recently, lean. My exposure to a lot of the concepts that Pat talked about started in the 1980s with quality management and activity-based management initiatives through the 80s and 90s, most recently in the lean area. The exposure I had in the diagnostic company I was with, the case was shrinking margins, increased competition, high inventory, significant time to service the customers in terms of the product deliveries. But the most chilling thing that came as we were doing strategic planning, which is where I wanted to focus my time as a member of the management board there, was one of our friends at MIT, Dr. Naldo Hawks, who was a very champion of customer focus. And that changed our whole position in putting the customer first and the customer value creation, therefore, the continuation for the whole value stream. And those are the things I think turned our company towards really embracing the lean concepts.